I'm Suhas Ramegowda. I used to be a typical urban corporate goer. I now am a development entrepreneur. I used to be a job seeker. I now am a job creator. That's me from my previous avatar. After having worked for 13 plus years with some of the best corporations in the world, I started to develop an itch that said there's more to life than what I was doing. So in 2017, me along with my wife and my son, who was 10 years then, we wrapped up everything that we had in the cities and we moved to the mountains, which is Nilgiris. The idea was to live off the grid. That's us from our off the grid days. We picked up a piece of land, we built ourselves an earth home, we grew our own food. That's not food, that's Geeta. She was family. We were harvesting water from the mountains. We were harvesting electricity from solar. We were living among the wild, which is the elephants, bears, leopards, bisons, and the works. During this time, we also grew very close to the indigenous people who were living around us, primarily Kurumbas and Irulas. They are native to these mountains alongside Todas and Kotas that you may have already heard of. That's Marden, he's an Irula. We and the communities living around us were living under very similar circumstances. But the way we were experiencing life was quite different. We saw our life as a boon while they saw it as a struggle. And the only difference, and probably the big difference, was a stable livelihood. This was the first time that I came face to face with the harsh realities of economic inequality in this country. We knew there's poverty when we were in the cities, but it was never up close and personal. We'll now take a look at some stats to just elaborate on the problem statement. According to a recent report from Oxfam, between the year 2012 and 2021, 40% of the wealth that was created in this country went to just 1% of the population. And 3% of the wealth that was created went to the bottom 50% of the population. Today, 5% in this country own 60% of the wealth, and the bottom 50% own just 3%. There are 228.9 million poor in this country, which is among the highest in the world. At the same time, the number of billionaires, which stood at 102 in 2020, went to 166 in 2022, just in a span of 2 years. Now, I don't have anything against the rich or the billionaires. I'm sure everybody is working hard to be where they are, but I'm just stating facts to illustrate the massive gap that exists in this country. Now, I'd like to also speak about a very interesting math that somebody in Oxfam did. They say it would take roughly 941 years for a rural minimum wage worker to earn as much wealth as a top executive in a leading government company in this country would earn just in 1 year. And 70% of the population in this country live in the rural landscape. This is as per the latest Government of India Economic Survey report, which came out for the financial year 23-24. Now, the government is doing its bit to address this at scale. One example is the PDS, or the Public Distribution System, which ensures that the poor have access to food and provisions at either subsidized cost or at no cost. There are crores of rupees that is being allocated every year as budget for rural development. As per the budget document on the Ministry of Rural Development website, for financial year 23-24, there's 1,57,545 crores allocated. Now, it's common knowledge that in terms of the efficiency and effectiveness of this fund utilization, and how much of an impact does it actually translate to on the ground. But basis my discussions with multiple government bodies, I truly believe that most of it is still available to facilitate this upliftment process. But the issue is a serious gap in terms of professionals with the right skills and the right intent to make this happen. I now want to introduce you to the idea of development entrepreneurship. A development entrepreneur is somebody who pursues an innovative idea to solve a community-based problem. Usually there is an enterprise which is used as a medium, and usually this enterprise has commerce in the business model simply to ensure the self-sustainability of the solution. These people also believe that this path connects them to their life's purpose, which is to make this world a better place to be in while eking out a living. So it's not altruism, it's not charity. It is a career path with returns. Of course, they don't end up owning BMWs, but they earn enough to have a decent living. The idea here is inclusive growth. So you can still call it a career path, maybe an alternate career path, simply because of how mainstream is defined today, but eventually this needs to become mainstream. Now the 228.9 million poor in this country, they don't actually need charity. What they need is dignified livelihood, which gives them a shot at flourishing in this lifetime so that their future generation can rise above, further above. I'd like to now quote a very popular adage which most of you would have already heard. You give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach him how to fish, then you feed him for a lifetime. For this to happen, the young in this country need to shift their mindset from being a job seeker to being a job creator. According to a recent report by Hans India, there are 6.5 million graduating every year in this country. 1.5 are engineers, 1.5 billion are engineers, 300,000 are postgraduates in business management, and so on. All we need from this pool is 228,900. If these development entrepreneurs can just commit to impacting 1,000 lives in their lifetime, then this 228.9 million poor will no longer be poor. I know it's easier said than done, but it's not impossible. While the government continues to impact at scale, these development entrepreneurs need to facilitate the depth of this impact. They can work with communities to inspire solutions that come from communities, so are owned by the communities. They can facilitate collectives for these communities, which ensures that the solution stays owned by the communities for generations to come. They can also connect these collectives to the various government programs that are designed for this very purpose. Now, the skills that one need to walk this path of a development entrepreneur are not always taught in schools and colleges. Of course, schools and colleges provide a platform, provide a foundation, but these entrepreneurs need to continue to upskill themselves depending on the sector that they choose to be in. Now, the internet has been a great equalizer with upskilling tools available for anyone to learn, and most of the time at no cost. When I started my journey on being a development entrepreneur, I didn't have a background in social entrepreneurship. I didn't have a background in entrepreneurship. I didn't have a background in social sector. And I often joke that we corporate folks are largely useless outside of our jobs. So between me quitting my job and starting on this journey, I picked up 14 different skills, all from the internet, all at no cost. So these 14 different skills, coupled with skills of my partner, who also is my co-founder, is what that has helped us build a enterprise ecosystem which uses craft and commerce as means to enable women from rural and indigenous communities into the economic mainstream. Now, if you're wondering what these dolls are doing sitting here next to me while I talk, these are fabric dolls that are offered as sustainable alternatives to all the plastics that are out there in the market. These fabric dolls have been handmade by women collectives, women from rural and indigenous communities. These are being sold today in over 30 upmarket stores across this country. These dolls help these women earn an equitable income, not a livelihood, but an equitable income, which I think is an example of development entrepreneurship. Thank you for listening to me. I'm Suhas Ramegowda, Once a job seeker, now a job creator.